You know, sometimes the most powerful tools in life don't look like much. They're quiet, unassuming. They sit on a shelf for months until one day you realize they could have saved you thousands. That's exactly what WD-40 is like. It's not flashy, it's not expensive. But if you know where to use it, and maybe more importantly where not to, this little $6 can quietly keep your car out of the repair shop and your wallet out of trouble. But here's the catch. A lot of people spray WD-40 in places that actually do more harm than good. The internet is full of bad advice. Even car forums and well-meaning neighbors will tell you to just spray it here, spray it there. But one wrong move, and you're not protecting your car, you're slowly damaging it. So today, we're diving into the real story. I'll walk you through where WD-40 truly shines, how it can diagnose problems your mechanic might not even catch, and which version you should actually be using. And trust me, there's one place you should never, ever spray it, no matter what TikTok says. Let's start with something sneaky. Vacuum leaks. These are the kind of problems that don't announce themselves with a bang. They creep in quietly. One day your engine starts idling funny. Another day it shudders at red lights. Then out of nowhere, that dreaded check engine light flickers on, and you're left wondering, what now? Most people don't realize that vacuum leaks are behind a lot of these weird symptoms. They mess with your car's air-fuel balance, and when that happens, everything else starts to suffer. Fuel efficiency drops, acceleration gets sluggish, your engine starts to feel tired even though nothing's technically broken. And because the leak is usually small, sometimes just a tiny crack in a hose, it's nearly impossible to see with the naked eye. Mechanics can spend hours tracing it down, and they'll charge you for every minute of that search. But here's a shortcut that almost feels like a cheat code. WD-40. Start your engine, then grab your can and lightly spray it around the vacuum hoses, intake manifold, and any suspicious connection points. Listen carefully. If the engine idle suddenly changes, if it revs up or stumbles, you've just found the leak. The WD-40 got sucked into the hole and temporarily sealed it. That shift in sound is your clue. No diagnostic scanner, no engine teardown. Just you and a $6 can make a professional-level diagnosis from your driveway. And here's something else to love about this method. It's safe. Unlike carburetor cleaner, which is flammable and can be dangerous if sprayed near a hot engine, WD-40 is designed to be low risk in tight, sensitive spaces. It won't melt your plastic sensors, it won't corrode rubber, and it won't turn your engine bay into a ticking time bomb. That's why seasoned mechanics like Scotty Kilmer, who's been fixing engines for over 50 years, still swear by it. When a guy with that kind of experience says something works, it's probably worth paying attention. Now, imagine this. Your engine has been running rough for weeks, and you're thinking of taking it to the shop. The quote just for a diagnostic is $150, and that's before they touch a single bolt. But instead, you pop the hood, give a few hoses a light spray, hear that change in idle, and bam, you found the problem yourself. No bill, no guesswork, just knowledge and confidence. But we're not done yet. Because while WD-40 can help you find a problem, it can also prevent them, especially when it comes to your car's electrical connections. And trust me, this is where a lot of people unknowingly do real damage. But let's save that for the next section, because this part deserves just as much attention. Electrical problems might appear out of nowhere. You get a price of $700 to fix a corroded ECU connector after one day your sensors malfunction. The underlying reason? Over time, moisture frequently finds its way into electrical contacts. The truth is that WD-40's original recipe was made to displace water, which is precisely why it works so well to stop corrosion in the connectors within your car. When clean, turned-off terminals are lightly sprayed, a moisture barrier is created that prevents corrosion before it even begins. Instead of spending more than $1,000 on a complete wiring harness replacement, you can save $6 here. Here's some advice. Although regular WD-40 often works, use WD-40 Specialist Contact Cleaner if you're working with delicate electronics or want a finish that leaves no residue. It provides long-term protection without accumulation, dissipates quickly, and leaves no film behind. Protecting weather stripping before it fractures comes in at number 3. Have you ever pulled your car door in the cold and felt as though it was glued shut? Your weather stripping is subtly failing, and the cost of fixing it quickly rises. Wet carpets, mildew, electrical problems, and even a $2,000 repair if water gets to your wiring are all consequences of leaky seals. The deal is this. The purpose of WD-40 Specialist Silicone Spray is to maintain the softness, water resistance, and functionality of those rubber seals. This formula maintains flexibility and avoids dry cracking, in contrast to the conventional one that contains petroleum that can really eat away at rubber. Your doors will seal tightly, and your inside will remain bone dry with just a simple spray every few months on clean rubber. A word of advice: don't just spray and go on. Use a fresh cloth to remove any excess. In cold weather, that thin layer is all that is needed to withstand water and prevent sticking. You've already prevented hundreds of dollars in hidden damage, while your cabin remains mold-free, sealed, and silent. Please subscribe before we continue. We provide advice that saves weekends, engines, and dollars. You may avoid a $1,000 error later with just one click. The 4th tip is to remove tree sap without damaging your paint. Have you ever had a sticky spot on your automobile that won't go away, only to have the paint underneath seem discolored or dull a few weeks later? That's sap from trees, not dirt. Furthermore, it is chemically eroding your clear coat in addition to being bothersome. This is where WD-40 subtly gains its reputation. By softening hardened sap without scraping, its solvent foundation enables you to remove it before it bakes in and begins to do actual harm. A microfiber cloth, a few sprays directly on the sap, and a cool surface are all you need. After a minute or two, give it a gentle wipe. After giving it a thorough cleaning and applying a new layer of wax, you've just saved yourself from having to pay $2,000 for a repaint or $500 for polishing. Here's a tip. Never leave WD-40 in the sun for an extended period of time. Always wash the area afterwards to get rid of any oily residue. When used properly, it's an inexpensive solution to a problem that develops more quickly than most drivers realize. People see this every day, yet they hardly ever consider cleaning it. The 5th item is the ability to quickly restore faded license plates. Have you ever wondered, when did that get so dull? After looking at your license plate? Plates deteriorate more quickly than most people realize due to UV rays, road salt, and years of dirt buildup. In fact, in some jurisdictions, an unreadable plate may result in a ticket. This is when WD-40 is useful. Almost immediately, a gentle mist on the surface gives it a cleaner, sharper appearance by removing accumulated dirt, grease, and even rust from the edges. That drab gray metal. It took less than a minute to get back to appearing roadworthy. You may simply wipe it down and be done without sanding or repainting. Here's some advice. For optimal effects, remove the plate first. After cleaning it with warm water and dish soap, use WD-40 and a microfiber cloth to finish. It's a cosmetic touch-up, not a complete repair, so don't expect reflecting sheen to return. Nevertheless, it's one of the quickest methods to improve the appearance of your car for the price of a sandwich and avoid the unexpected $50 fine. The 6th step is to remove rusty bolts without shattering them. Nothing can spoil a day more than hearing a wrench slip on a corroded bolt. And if you've ever broken one in the middle of repair, you know that it's not only annoying, but also costly. WD-40 Specialist Penetrant can change everything in this situation. This version is specifically designed for this task, in contrast to the original formula. It breaks corrosion from the inside out by sliding deeply into corroded seams and tight threads using capillary action. Bolts that required more than 500 foot-pounds to release while dry decreased to 238 after using WD-40 in controlled torque tests. That relieves a lot of strain on your patience and instruments. Clean the area first, then apply the spray, and after a few minutes try to loosen it for the best effects. This solution works best when you act quickly, before it evaporates, but some do-it-yourselfers let it soak. Although there are more aggressive or less expensive alternatives available, this works well for the majority of blocked bolts without causing heat damage or knuckle fractures. Let's now discuss the area of your car that is scrutinized before it is ever driven. 7th, chrome may be cleaned and shined without any effort. If you've ever attempted to polish chrome wheels or bumpers, you are aware that it may be a 3-hour task or, with the correct technique, a quick fix. This is one that most people don't notice: WD-40. WD-40's mixture of mineral spirits and lubricating oils allows it to remove water stains, road filth, and even old tar from chrome. That dull metal will shine like it just came from the store when you spray it on, wipe it off with a microfiber towel, or use 000 steel wool for stubborn areas. In contrast to what you may have read online, WD-40 is acid-free. It actually adds a protective layer that slows rust and repels water, and it's safe for chrome. Every few months, some riders even apply it on chrome to keep guards and rims appearing brand new. For a few dollars per can, it significantly reduces cleaning time and outperforms pricey polishes without compromising gloss. Reviving flooded engines is the 8th step. Every driver fears the following scenario: a storm, a deep puddle, or even a botched do-it-yourself car wash, followed by your engine misfiring or, worse, failing to start at all. Your ignition system isn't working properly because moisture has gotten inside. Yes, if you recall correctly, this is another instance of WD-40's initial water displacement function. When you spray it on your damp spark plugs, distributor cap, or electrical connectors, the moisture will be forced out, restoring functionality and creating a protective layer against rust. Before spraying, make sure the engine is cold and remember to disconnect the battery. Reconnect everything and turn it on after it has dried. Frequently, the change will be audible before it is felt. WD-40 is a garage hero for light exposure or moisture penetration, but it won't repair flood damage. With a $6 can and a little know-how, you can get back on the road without a tow cost or diagnostics. The number of people who use WD-40 in ways that cost them thousands of dollars might surprise you. Let's discuss the first significant one. The 9th step is to apply WD-40 to scratches in the hopes that they would go away. It's a trick you've probably seen online. Use WD-40 to remove a car scratch. Indeed, it appears to function at first glance. Under the correct lighting, the oily sheen fills the scratch just enough to make it disappear. I understand. When you don't want to spend your entire week staring at clear coat scuffs, it looks like a cheap cure. The problem is that WD-40 cannot get rid of scratches. In addition to momentarily hiding them, it creates an oily residue that draws dirt and dust. That accumulation can eventually cause discoloration, degrade your paint, and erode your clear coat. Users occasionally found themselves in need of complete panel repaints, which can cost anywhere from $300 to more than $3,000. Instead, use an appropriate scratch repair kit such as turtle wax or meguiars. These are not designed for illusion, but for paint correction. Call an expert before it spreads if it's deeper than a superficial mark. WD-40 works wonders for a lot of things, but as a miracle paint fixer, that's one quick fix that doesn't work. Never use WD-40 inside your engine. You might have heard of people pouring WD-40 directly into their engines thinking it works like motor oil. At first glance, the logic seems innocent enough. After all, WD-40 feels smooth, resists rust, and is great for silencing squeaks or loosening jammed bolts. But this belief is not only wrong, it's potentially disastrous. Despite what it looks or feels like, WD-40 is not motor oil. It's a solvent. Engine oil by design does far more than just reduce friction. It regulates engine temperature, suspends harmful debris, prevents metal parts from grinding against each other, and forms a protective film that can survive extreme heat and pressure. WD-40, however, lacks all of these properties. Unlike oil, WD-40 has no thermal stability. It evaporates quickly, and breaks down when exposed to high temperatures. Using it inside your engine can result in severe consequences: overheating, bearing failure, piston seizures, and, in extreme cases, total engine collapse. And if that's not enough, WD-40 is also flammable. Putting a combustible substance into a blazing hot engine is not just risky, it's reckless. If the damage escalates, you could be looking at repair bills ranging from $3,000 to over $10,000. That's a high price to pay for a simple misunderstanding. Never spray WD-40 on your brakes. There was a Reddit user who once joked, "I sprayed WD-40 on my disc brakes, and now when I brake, I go faster." It's a funny comment, until you realize how dangerous that situation truly is. Brakes rely entirely on friction to stop your car. WD-40 is a lubricant. The moment you spray it onto your rotors or brake pads, you're reducing the very friction your braking system depends on. That $6 shortcut may silence the squeak, but it can also take away your ability to stop safely. It gets worse. If WD-40 seeps into the brake pads, they can absorb it and become permanently damaged, meaning they'll have to be replaced. Even more serious, the solvent can corrode rubber caliper seals and brake lines. This may lead to leaking brake fluid or even a total failure of the braking system, something that could easily result in an accident. How much will this mistake cost you? For contaminated pads and rotors, expect to pay $250 to $500 per axle. If the brake lines or calipers are compromised, repairs can exceed $1,000. The proper solution? Use a purpose-built brake cleaner. WD-40 itself offers a product called WD-40 Specialist Brake and Parts Cleaner, specifically designed for cleaning brake components. It removes grime and rust without leaving behind any residue and is completely safe for your braking system. How to use WD-40 the right way? WD-40 is an incredibly useful tool when applied correctly. The original formula is perfect for freeing stuck bolts, preventing rust on tools, and repelling moisture from metal surfaces. But if you want optimal results, you need to choose the right version for the job. For precision electronics, use a contact cleaner. For rubber gaskets and seals, choose a silicone spray. For rusted bolts and corrosion, go with a penetrating oil. And for cleaning brake parts, always use a non-residue brake cleaner designed specifically for that task. There's one simple rule to remember. Never spray WD-40 on anything that depends on heat sensing, friction, or calibrated movement, like oxygen sensors, brake rotors, or engine internals. What works perfectly in one part of your car could completely destroy another. Treat that $6 as a precision tool, not a magic fix for everything. Use it wisely, and it could save you thousands. Use it carelessly, and it might cost you more than you can imagine, both in repairs and in safety.